everybody, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today we are here for day 3 of our still life art journey. We're going to be focusing on the grapes today. We're just painting the grapes. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to show you how to get that sort of milky frosted effect that really deep purple grapes can have. It's really challenging for artists, and we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about blocking in, about pacing in a still life. On the mic today is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
So hopefully you guys are painting along, and while you are, John is going to be tracking me with cameras and doing his best to read your questions so that if you have a pertinent question about how the painting is constructed or how you can do this better at home, he can be totally on that. We're going to be working with purpose today, but not rushed. So sometimes in live tutorials, you know, I've got to move along at a particular clip, but I'm just going to be painting it sort of like my painting pace today, and you guys paint at your painting pace. It's still acceptable to pause, fast forward, and rewind as you need to. References for this project are, of course, on the TheArtSherpa website and on our Facebook group. And I have been loving seeing what you guys have done so far. Y'all have been blowing my mind. I think let's just jump in.
Okay.
Let's be like DeFranco. Let's just jump in.
Let's just jump into it.
All right, so we've got our painting so far, and what we're going to be working on today is the grapes. I have provided for you, if you're on the Facebook already this morning, your grapey close-ups. You can really see their grapiness, the frostiness, and all of that. Over here, I have out my palette, and I pretty much have out our complete project palette with the exception of the nickel, the Naples Yellow. Sometimes that's called nickel yellow. If you hear me vacillating between the two, it's because sometimes Naples Yellow is called nickel yellow. So out today we have burnt umber, burnt sienna, phthalo blue, phthalo green, dog's eating purple, naphthol red light, alizarin crimson, some quinacridone magenta. I'm not really sure if I'm going to need this, but I wanted it out in case I did. I do know I need this. My zinc white, which of course you could use mixing white. And if you really didn't have this, you could try to mix your titanium white with your glaze. And my titanium white. And of course, you know, water to thin paint and all those usual things. And sippy. Are we ready to hop in?
We are. We're definitely ready to hop into it.
Everybody here?
Mm-hmm.
You guys ready to paint?
They are.
You guys ready to grape it up?
And I got we got the picture-in-picture, and I got big grapes.
And you got big grapes.
I think
So we were
Big
asked
grapes.
in one of the comments if John on occasion could show you guys at home on the close-up some of the bigger grapes. And we were like, yeah, we could totally do that. So what I'm going to start doing is sort of laying in my grapitude, right? I'm going to start putting in, like we did yesterday with the flowers, I'm going to start sort of putting in my grapeness. I'm going to actually take, this is going to be like, you'd have to be all the way back to the fox to know how I love this color. This is burnt sienna and dog's eating purple.
Now,
and I'm going to be like kind of putting in my grapes.
Lisa was just reminding me that you've also got those close-up crops on the website.
I have those close-up crops on the website. Thank you, Lisa. So, and I'm going to put my reference sort of close to where I'm working.
Okay, and we're going to zoom in here on where
you guys
will
have your references at home. I'm going to have my reference sort of here so that I know what the heck I'm doing.
We're working on just the grapes today, right?
Just
the
grapes, not even the vine before the grapes, just sort of the grapes and the little area around them. And what I'm wanting to do, I'm going to get a little white where I'm going over something dark, is I just want to sort of plot in my grapes that I'm seeing, you know, and I'm using these objects to sort of relationally talk about things. So how big is this in relationship to my grapes? Chances are, knowing me, I'm going to get a little big with my grapes. My grapes are going to be plump. That's my way. All things should be plump.
You know, I don't like, you know, well, it's not true. I do like shriveled grapes. Raisins are okay.
You do. You're a big raisin fan. I don't know where you were going with that. You're so supportive. So you see I've got this number 4 round, and I'm just loading this paint. This is just sort of sketching in, so I go, what am I doing in my, I'm going to go lighter here so I can see it. And I'm using my titanium white. I want to use my good zinc for, don't do that.
Now, what kind of brush are you using today?
This is a number 4 round. This is for my TheArtSherpa line. But listen, any brush you have that you sketch your details in with will work here.
Okay, so you're just using a round brush?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of still lifes around the world have been painted with many brushes. So don't feel trapped. So I know I've got a little grape sort of distant in the background. I've got another little foreground grape that's definitely focal here. So I'm going to Say, hey, you little foreground grape. Where are you at? You here. Foreground grape. I talk about you. You can adjust these as you're going. Right? Because some of these are in the background and some of these are in the foreground. And you've got to decide, what are your focal grapes? Hey, grape of focus, where are you? Here's another little grape of focus. So when I'm looking at the picture, right, I'm looking for the grapes where their shapes are nearly complete and they're forward facing to me.
Uh-huh.
So these grapes will be where I put my primary attention as I'm graping it up, because I have other grapes, right, that are sort of distant or covered up or impacted in some other way.
Now, did you go over the colors you have out?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yes, I did.
All right. We're going to do it again here in a little while, but I just want to make sure that you did, because we do this so many times, I can't remember if it was this episode or last episode.
Some episode we went over some colors
We
of
did.
some grapes. You can now, if you're going, here's a little tip. So say you're painting along in a still life and you're following along and you're like, wait, I don't have enough grapes here, right? Or I got too many grapes or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
Listen, nobody has your reference photo. No one's going to check your work. All the time I will see artists panicking like someone's going to come into their house and check their work. Nobody's coming, not even me. If you have another grape, more grape, you have more grape. It's okay. What you're going to want to do is just make sure that you've got some grapes that people can relate to, right?
Now,
and within this, of course, we have this sort of grapitude of different little grapey shapes that are hidden maybe in behind other grapes and behind lemon peels. A lot of our lemon peel is going to come out. So it's nice to layer these grapes a bit underneath our little lemon tree, very pretty.
Now, on color management, there
Yes.
was if you were to be doing this entire painting, you wouldn't lay out all the color in the first, because it would dry, right?
Okay. So for the first lesson, just use the colors that I have.
Yeah.
After that, I continue to put in colors that I used previously because I got to paint lower areas.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes I need to fill in areas around here where my objects are not exactly where I thought they'd be, and I need to come in and say, hey, there's a little green here, or there's a little vine here, or there's a leaf. So that's why I put out my whole palette, so I can work in.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Now, which ones are you working with right now? You're using the...
Huh?
Which ones are you using right now? That the purple...
I am using the burnt sienna.
The burnt sienna.
And the deluxe purple.
Deluxe purple, okay.
They're very happy. They make me happy. That's actually a color I really like. I like these two colors together so much. It's a problem. Okay, so these are going to be the grapes that I really, 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 really see quite well. So now I have to make a very purple chromatic black. And what I mean by that is that I'm not going to use any black pigment, but I'm going to make a color value that is so dark and so deep that to the eye it's going to feel black. And that's going to come and fill in all around my little dots, right? Mm-hmm. Which, oh, gosh darn it, look here in the center. I have a focal. I forgot.
What?
See, so whenever you look away, and if you back up from your canvas, right, what will happen is sometimes you will see stuff that you're missing.
You're missing grapes?
We were missing some grapes, so that's what was happening.
I think...
Right. I was like, there's not enough grape. Grape.
There's just too many grape jokes to be made.
Too many grapes. So I'm going to get out my little cat's tongue again, but any filbert, any braid that you're comfortable with, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you're going to definitely want to use. And I'm going to get my phthalo blue and my diox together.
Okay.
And you're going to see this gets quite dark. And if I go ahead and add a little alizarin to it, wow. I mean, seriously, you'd be hard-pressed to not know that was, black. But it's going to be very deep on this canvas, isn't it? And I'm thinking I'm going to go even deeper with my green. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want this rich color pushing everything back. And around my focal grapes, I'm going to paint in this dark value. Around my focals. Just coming around here. I'm going to push this back gently. Just work the tip here. Just be delicate. And remember, you can add, you can subtract, you can do a lot. You can do so much you don't even know. Just keep adding that green in there. This is a trick I do in water too. So I'm just coming here and adding this rich value. Because remember, some of these are so in shadow that you barely see them. And I'm coming along my plate edge as well. I will reveal it with a highlight. The highlight reel.
The highlight
Dipping
reel.
in the water. Coming here, mixing more. And I'm going to breathe. One of the things that I'm seeing you guys are having as an experience on the whole is you guys are loving breaking this down into segments. You're still worried about your pacing and your time and all of that. And one of the things that I am loving about this online thing, and a point I want to make to everybody, is were you to say pay for a workshop and come be with me over a 5-day period where we worked on a still life like this. If you had a work commitment, if you had a family commitment, you would miss a class, and that would be very frustrating for you, and your money would still be out of your pocket, and you'd be missing some of the information. But the fabulous thing about this YouTube workshop is it's at your pace. You access this information when you need it.
Pause, play, rewind.
Pause, play, rewind.
Now,
I'm just continuing to mix my chromatic black.
now, when you're sizing those grapes,
Yes.
those are not the final size, are they?
I don't know. I'm going to probably play with it.
Because when you're doing them, they kind of, I've noticed that, as you shade things in and out, that
They're getting
size.
small.
Yeah?
Yeah. And that's okay, because I'm going to come back and plump them out. I just need to know where some stuff is.
Right. So what it was is that folks were asking, can you give us a measurement of those grapes? And I guess my leading question is that your grapes aren't quite finished. So
No, they're not finished. So what I'm going to do, how I'm going to gauge the size of my grape, is I'm going to say this grape in relationship to the center of this flower based on that photo.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
So that's how I'm going to kind of guess my grape size. And some things that I know are, it's not that important. It's important, but it's not that important. Because grapes come in so many sizes and varietals. Again, as long as no one's checking your work, this is a big important thing as artists. No one's checking your work.
You can make some emotional decisions.
Like, I put a grape up here, but I'm actually thinking it doesn't go there, so I'm probably going to pull it out.
Okay. Yeah. Someone
So-
ate that grape.
Someone is about to eat this grape. And I'm going to come back with some green, and we're going to eat up the grape. That's what's going to happen in about a nanosecond. So the thing is I'm just trying to say, hey, I need some white. I'm just helping myself focus, because if I just painted this all in dark, and only dark, I would forget to leave focal grapes. I would. I'd get all lost in it. But this way, I'm not that lost. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take this dark value over to my lovely lemon, which I know is like, there's so many of you that are just like so freaked out about the lemon. Little do you know it's the knife y'all need to be worried about. Whole piece was super easy, but that knife, woo! No, I get you through the knife, don't worry.
He's got lots of different colors on it.
Yes, and we're not using any metallic paint at all. We are painting what we see. You're going to love painting metal. In fact, I intend to make you a bunch of converts where you're going to be like begging for metal paintings. One-way ticket to midnight, riding heavy metal. All right, so we're just going along. You guys are learning that when I am just painting thoughtfully, I might be a little bit of an off-key songbird. That happens. John's dealt with that for years. I'm going to bring, there's a green fabric that comes down around this side, and I'm going to go get it, which it's basically a little of my phthalo blue, a lot of my green, and some of my burnt sienna. See, that's why we always have our background colors around. There we go. And I'm going to just say that this drape has come here and is going behind Friend Lemon. Right? And I'm going to take some of these grapes back because I feel like I didn't catch that upper ridge correctly. And so I'm going to just, look at me, paint right over my stuff. if I don't like what I have, I change it.
Ah.
I don't stress on it, man. I just change it. And it's okay if some of this green goes into some of our purple space. See how it's all encroachy? But we don't care. We're like, yeah, it's all good. It's going to trip y'all out when these things come together. I'm hoping, have we been capturing this for still life? I mean, first time lapse?
Yes.
I really am sort of looking forward. I'm pulling out some burnt and deepening this so that this edge maybe is a little closer to the background edge. See that?
Mm-hmm.
It helps me blend it back in.
It's very dark.
It's very dark. I'm just trying to say, maybe make this a little softer. See, I'm coming on the edge with my glaze. I'm just softening that. So that it's not so focal.
Yeah.
I'm going to let this dry for a while because I know I'm coming back and graping it up a bit. Graping it up. Like you do. Okay. So grapes. First little grape. First grapey, grapey, grapey. All right, I'm going to get a little of my Doc's purple and a little bit of my, I'm saying Naphthol red. There we go. That's nice. And I'm going to paint this burgundy value in first. This nice red value. And I may even add as a reference that I can see very, very close to me, this little grape reference.
You need bigger grapes.
Bigger grapes.
I might be able to
What I can see, I can paint.
zoom grapes.
Can't paint what you can't see. In your mind, you either have to be able to see it in your mind's eye, or you've got to be able to see it some other way. So if you can't see stuff, then it's really tough to paint.
I didn't set up the proper cropping for this picture-in-picture.
That's just a little view of it.
That's just so you can see.
Just a little view so you guys can see it a bit.
A bit closer.
A bit closer. And again, you have them on the website. I'm going to get a little more red onto my brush. And I'll come here, just sort of a friendly offshoot. Sort of like, hey, so many grapes I'm seeing. All right, just trying to, and I think there's a little one down here. And then this one right here. A little more purple on this next one. A little more purple on this next friendly grape. You're bugging me. So you got to make your workspace comfortable. So see, these are kind of getting a little bigger.
Yeah, they're kind of growing.
They're growing. They're plumping up. Because I want them to really be focal.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured that, I've seen you do these little circle things. You tend to start with them smaller than you end them.
Yeah, I give myself room to grow.
Room to grow them out.
This next one, I'm going to add a little more blue to the mix. Right? I might even, actually, let's get some zinc. So the reason we love the zinc is notice how it doesn't lighten the color so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't change the color so much. Right? So I can come back here. Look at that. God, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And put this little distant, happy little grape. I can even sit there and put a little highlight in somewhere to say that there's something happening behind everything.
Yeah, I may adjust that camera up just a touch because
it's having trouble seeing it.
Well, it's very dark. It's a very dark painting.
It's a dark painting. Good still lifes are dark. I like a darker lit still life. I actually had so many feelings about this when we were coming up with this plan. I'm going to get more into my red here. Maybe this time a little more into my Alizarine. And I may have to mist my palette here in a second. So many grapes to think about. I definitely need a focal grape somewhere here. And see, all the colors on my brush matter. Just painting my little circles. That's what I got to do at first. It's what you got to do. And then, Getting some of this little purple out, maybe some of the zinc in there so it pulls a little. Let's say that there's maybe a little bit of a grape up here we'll be thinking about. And then there's a nice little grape popping off here, tucked behind. That one's a little more red, so I'm going to grab a little red. So you can see I'm just sort of blocking these in at this stage, showing where they're layering from each other. And they'll start to come out. This particular part of the painting should develop like a photo, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So, you know, I've got this one right here. Just going to try to make sure that that's sort of represented there. And this one here, let's get a little more blue and a little more zinc white to say right here. Yeah. Little grape. Hi, grape. Come on out. Be in the bunch. Don't feel left out. We're an inclusion grape bunch. We'll include you so much. And then maybe I'm going to get a little titanium white. You can see how much stronger that is than the zinc and how it impacts the painting. And then I'm going to move this so it's not irking me. Don't irk me.
Don't irk.
And I'm going to find this little guy right here because it was more focal. So we're just putting it back. See how I'm varying my purples?
I do.
Now, because I can always come back and lighten a purple or darken it, but sometimes what I'm looking for is this grape predominantly blue in its undervalue? Is this grape red in its undervalue? I'm not sure, right? So if I'm like, oh, let's get more alizarin and more diox for this next one, and I'm not even having to really rinse off my brush as much as you might think. Now see, I pulled this grape back a bit from where I originally had it, didn't I?
Yeah.
Creating this nice sort of line. And as it's lightened, it will definitely become more interesting in our space. So there's another nice little grape here. I'm going to rinse out my brush. This grape is more of the diox and the phthalo. And let's get a little of our zinc white onto that. And let's talk about this little fellow right here. See if we can even see it. And if we can't, we'll have to come back with more of our zinc. And just be like, hey, I see you. Right? Just painting this little guy right here. So we're just building circles. All grapes are in a still life are little balls that are lit well. So like one of the things you're going to figure out as we're going, you can tell the light sources on this still life. There's two lights.
Yeah.
See that white spot and that white spot?
It.
This tells you a lot about the lighting, doesn't it? And the strongest one is right here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can see these. There's like some secondary reflection that this one picked up. They must have had an underlight because I see it here too. And then there's a strong overhead.
Oh, could you turn that vertically? There you go. So that way matches the.
Oh, sorry.
It matches the picture in picture because
Thank you.
You're pointing it. It's like. So
I'm just being a crazy
no, it's
person.
fine. I was trying to figure out why in my brain was it not matching.
I was thinking that's where too, but you can see where the point is when you're looking at a grape, right? These aren't even misted. If these were misted, this would be even more. You'd be seeing the light source in your still life.
Gotcha.
I taped these wrong anyways. Thank you for catching that, my darling. Dyslexia.
Well, no, I was just
strikes my brain again. Dyslexia is not just for writing. It messes with artists too. So anywho, I'm just building these, right?
Yep.
Just having a nice little gas, building, little guys. Little guy. Come here, little guy. Come here, little guy. Pull out a little titanium white so we can really see this one that we're going to build right here. Oh. And again, I can always put my shadow back, right? That is definitely in my power. so I don't got to worry. I'm just trying to cover my canvas with paint and values so that when I come back and start to add highlights and lowlights and all my effects, right, that this will very quickly start to come together and pop. Like this is actually even much darker. This is our last well-lit grape, so this is actually even much darker. I'm going to get my blue on my brush and a little of my white, and I'm going to say, hey, there is this right here, just a smidge. Just a smidge. The rest of this is pretty dark. This little guy has a little friend. There's some little friends here. Let's paint him in as we can. So these two have a little friend between them that's sort of tucked in. And it's nice to think of your grape as tucked in with their friends. It makes painting grapes very peaceful. If you think that grapes are just with their families, they're just with their communities, right? That's all you're dealing with is grape communities.
Grape communities.
These are great communities. And speaking of communities, everybody who's in the middle of these fires and storms and stuff like that, please stay safe. We are thinking about you. All right, grape communities. Now, this is sort of, I know I got a lot of lemon peel over here, so I'm going to get my Alizarine on here. These are just wishful grapings.
Mm-hmm.
Where I know a lot of my lemon is going to go over it, but I don't want to have the area feel unpainted. So I'm going to make sure that I have these sort of represented so that when my lemon peel goes over, everything feels considered. As it should. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Should feel considered. And covered with paint. I just got my naphtha and just making sure. These are well done. I'm going to rinse off. And then I'm going to come back with my dark value and make sure that these are all painted in quite well. So that is my Diox purple and my Phthalo green and my Phthalo blue. Just making sure that my canvas is well covered and rich. Can't have a rich still life if you don't really keep the paint going. All right, we know we're going to have a little grape coming out of shadow there. A lot of these grapes are going to be coming out of shadow. Right? You can even put some of them back in shadow. Look, I'm shadowing back a half of this grape. Because down here, they're sort of in shadow, aren't they? Grape in shadow. I'm a grape in shadow. The light isn't shining on me. So just keep pressing along. Right. Pressing along, making sure that you have rich paint, rich space. My grapes are sort of drying and taking on their nice, rich components coming together as a group. Now I resolve the painting around them. If I do this part now, if I resolve the surrounding area, when I get to my lemon, I will be less overwhelmed. Manage, 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 manage. Now, I need my zinc, maybe a little of my two burnt browns. I'm coming in here. See how this is just kind of gray brown?
Yeah.
I'm going to come along here and very lightly as you can, put in a little highlight. A lot of this is going to vanish. Add a little blue into this mix. A lot of this will vanish. I've got the blue into that mix, and I'm adding another little value right along here. Let's get our dark value again and just reinforce along underneath it. This is the plate, and this is how we're saying it's here. See how we're barely saying it?
Yeah.
Can you see it at all in the camera?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to switch the other.
See, that's all it takes
to
start to reveal this part of the metal plate. I'm going to get a bigger brush and pull this down here. Well, first I'll make sure that this is nice and rich and finished up here. Right. Just making sure everything is how we likes it. All right. Shall we get a bigger brush? Shall we play a game? I'm going to get a number 10 bright here. I'm going to get my brush wet. I'm going to take my green and my blue and add a little of my burnt umber to that. And my page is curled, which is super annoying.
You need some more tape?
Probably.
Top, you need fresh tape.
Fresh tape.
And sippy.
Sippy and a fresh I probably need my sippy. Oh, goodness, I need sippy. Yeah, I need a break. Everybody break. I know we just mixed a color, but needs a warm up. So you can see we blocked that in. They're very dark. They're very in shadow. And what's going to happen is that as you add these highlights, these milky highlights, and these rich values and the shadows underneath, they're going to start to just, this part will feel like a camera developing. And your job through this is to breathe. Realize that your painting isn't hanging on the next brush stroke. I think sometimes what I'm hearing you guys reflect is like, oh, I did these two things wrong and the whole painting is just over and I can't continue. And the painting is never hanging on its next brush stroke. I mean, acrylic paint, this is why I love it, is that once it dries, you can just rethink it. You can just move your grapes. Grapes can just move over if you need them to. Anything in your painting can be changed to work for you in a better way. So I'm going to take my green before it dries on my brush, even though John's over there, and I'm going to lay some of this dark green in this corner over here. Again, I'm just building up the depth of value. Just building up this depth of value because I wouldn't want it not to be rich. Thank you for that.
You couldn't wait.
Huh?
You couldn't wait.
I couldn't wait. No, it was drying on my brush. So there's not everything happening under here because we're going to put those focal leaves in later. Mm-hmm. Right? Everything happening under there is not as critical mass. I'm going to get some purple and come underneath. Nothing like purple into a green to talk about a deep shadow. Seriously, it's like insane.
Nothing like a purple to make a green dark.
Nothing like it, man. It just says Marion and Robin Hood. It just says Old World. It just says Renaissance.
You know what? It does.
It's one of the great weird art joys that I have.
I hadn't even thought about any of that, but it really does. I mean, like, and just thinking about all that, the Disney version of.
Well, you know why we have so many chromatic blacks, right?
No.
Right. And if you guys want to know more about chromatic black, back in 2016, I did a whole quest on black, and then we painted Dali. It was a whole weird thing. There's a cookie painting in there. But the reason that we have chromatic black is black pigment used to be expensive. Artists couldn't always get it. It was, depending on how countries were relating to other countries. I'm still just working my dark values down here.
There's that lamp black and
well, yeah, it was just, but some of it was hard to come by. And so if you couldn't get your black, you had to be able to mix it, right?
Oh, yeah, because there's bone black and ivory black.
Yeah, think how hard it is to get black. Ivory black.
Yeah.
Lamp black you can get, but it impacts your painting and is dangerous. I think it used to be super dangerous to make. Probably is still dangerous to make. I'm going to get a little of my zinc into this mixture, right? And that's how I'm going to highlight it, is with the zinc, not with the titanium white. And I'm going to apply the lightest, behave, the lightest.
Will the tape to stick?
You know what? I'm a very patient person until I'm not. And then I'm like, listen, you reference picture. Doing stuff here. So see how I'm just adding just the faintest little effect of the folds
I do.
with the zincs.
You're emotionally putting
No, I'm
wrinkles.
factually putting it in. I mean, I'm paying attention to my reference.
But I mean, you're just letting, I mean, like, you're not like detailedly painting it in. You're just like letting us know that it's down there in the shadow.
Yeah, if I detail put it in, it would make this piece feel very inauthentic.
Right. Your brain's just got to go, oh, yeah, I know that's down there, but I don't need any more information about it.
One, because it's out of focus, right?
Yeah.
And that's what my zinc is just the bomb about. And I love it. Come along the top of this. There we go. And now just back with my deep value.
Your deep purple.
So there's not there we go. See how that's happening?
I do.
Oh gosh, when we put the next, when we put the up close leaf up here, it's going to just go, this whole space is going to go, whoa! We don't have to do that today though, so.
Tomorrow.
So,
no.
After the lemon, everything else gets resolved.
Oh.
So we're going to go through the lemon, and what we're doing is we're painting this still life from the furthest objects back, coming forward. And so if we decide to put the vines in front of the wine glass, we will do that. And these front vines and the knife and this little bit of fabric on our last day.
Gotcha.
Our last day together.
Now, tomorrow is Big Art Quest.
Tomorrow is Daenerys Targaryen.
Mother.
First of her name. Breaker of chains. Khaleesi.
You're looking forward to doing that, huh?
I am looking. I mean, we're going to be together for a while, guys. So if you're painting, if you're part of the Big Art Quest About Face this year, you know, definitely it's going to be your day. It's going to be a good day. Good day to be in the Big Art Quest. All right. I'm going to pull a fresh water. I'm going to pull another sippy. Center myself mentally for the next part of my grapes as we resolve these up pretty quickly.
Yes.
You guys all blocked in and have your mysterious, mystic, Renaissance style deep values?
I think we do.
I bet this group is going to get braver.
Oh,
Are you guys going to
yes.
get brave? If we do this again, how brave are you going to be on the next vote?
Oh, yeah.
Because we'll do this again. We'll throw up a bunch of still lifes and you guys can pick one and we'll go for it again. And I'll try to put up a one hoot one at some point. You know, in the future, if you guys are like, I don't, 5 days,
No, everybody.
30 minutes.
Everybody's super excited about tomorrow. There are lots of folks saying, "Oh, yes."
It's gonna be
That's exciting.
awesome sauce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, these awesomes. All right, so I'm gonna start getting in here and start getting my mixtures out. So I like my purple and a little of my alizarin and a little of my blue. And let's pull some white into that and see how that is looking. So it's quite a deep color. And I'm going to start painting it in my grapes. So here we are, just coming along this nice grape. And I'm going to pay attention to, and this is a very interesting thing, that the patterns, the milking on the grape, right, is in a very irregular pattern. See me coming around here, just being very delicate?
Yeah.
And I'm following a very irregular pattern. Right? I'm going to get some of my deep purple and my blue, or just a very dark color. I'm going to come here in the center, adding that. Maybe milk it right here. This whole side is just in shadow, so let's put that in its value, in its shadow. Right, just pulling that up, because this is, what are we lighting? We're lighting a sphere. If we're practicing lighting, if you're practicing how to do value changes in lighting, sphere, it's your friend. Adding a little of my red to this, and a little of my blue. Let's go visit our friend Zinc. More blue. And you can gray this with a little of your burnt sienna. See how that grays out?
Yeah.
So you can gray and lighten with your zinc pretty safely. Here we go. Just starting to talk about the top of this a little bit. Pushing that back. Here we go.
Trying to get that a little zoomed in for you.
Pushing it back. And we're going to have to come back and really blue this up in a second. It is the task, right? Get your colors. And I like to pull out so I can see it. Be like, oh, I'm seeing it, I'm seeing it. Here we go, bluing it. Bluing it up. Little blue here. Right? Blue it up. And I may actually, looking at this, feeling super silly, might actually have to put out some ultramarine. The reason I might be putting out some ultramarine is that the phthalo green shade, right, is very saturated. And if I add ultramarine to, well, this is actually working out really well though, but it's going to make these grapes super, super vibrant. Right? So if I pop some ultramarine in here, the difference is ultramarine has an almost purple undertone. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. So when you're mixing your colors, your grape colors, and you blue it with the ultramarine, it's going to keep that blue undertone. Up, there we go. That's what we were looking for.
Now, is your brush?
That's why I was like following it.
Is your brush wet or
perfect.
dry?
Huh?
Is your brush wet or dry there?
It's not wet. It's. Oh, do we see that? That's just perfect. It is the ultramarine, guys. So I didn't have those out in the beginning. I always apologize if I have a color that I don't shout out at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I always feel really bad about that. But sometimes when you're painting something, you'll be going along, you're like, I'm not getting it, and then you go, oh, it's because I'm painting phthalo blue green shade, and that is just too saturated and hot for this space, and it's not going to give me the effect I want. And that's when you realize, I got to switch it out. Now, if you don't have ultramarine and all you have is phthalo blue green shade, clearly I can get a shaped grape. Mm-hmm. So don't panic. Don't be like, I'll never get a grape that I want. It's never happening because I only have.
But this is interesting. Because this is why there's an advantage to having some of these different shades and hues of paint, so that you can, it's not that you necessarily need them to express all these ideas or thoughts, but it helps. Yeah? It
just helps. Because you can see this is definitely more muted.
Gotcha.
So and the two of them working together, it's super powerful. It's a powerful, powerful thing because they'll play off each other, making your painting, now you're getting Renaissance-y. See how those play off each other? Mm-hmm. So we're getting that milky effect. How is that looking on the big screen?
Oh, great. Joy is excited. She's like, this is going to look great in my kitchen.
It is going to look so good in your kitchen, you guys.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Joy. And it's a nice-sized painting.
It'll put this little guy down here.
It'll live there a little while at least.
Yeah? Now, I've got that nice little highlight down there, but I've got to come back with a deep value to warrant that little sucker. So let's come down here and just let that. See how that little grape just barely shows? And it's going to be popped behind that leaf, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And then let's take our deep value here. I'm pulling it up here. See how I'm pulling the purple up? What does that do to our space? When we have those deep values, oh, looking so grapey. Grapey, grape. Grape. Oh, love that. Love that. Into it. So that was the
Oh,
ultramarine and the alizarin crimson and the zinc. And I'm going to have to put out more zinc because everything is hot and skinning now. And I haven't quinacridoned at all.
no.
So that's a lesson that happens. Just this happens to me. I sometimes put out paint that I end up not using. And I sometimes have to go into my paint bucket for color that I didn't necessarily know I was going to need until I got into the process of painting.
Now, but for us on the show, guys, sometimes we put that paint out for you in advance. You won't necessarily need to lay out all your paint
Yeah.
all in advance like that.
No.
We just do that to help you guys be able to see what's going to be used in the day.
Right. So I'm just up here talking to this grape.
What is that grape saying?
That grape is saying, I'm much redder than you painted me, but you can come back and talk to me again if you need to.
He says, I hear you.
Yeah. So I'm just adding the milky, and you can see how the zinc is our friend for this. For grape milk.
For making them because the translucentness of it.
The translucence of it and its warm pearlescence is just the bomb.
Mm.
I'm gonna go right here. Just working these out. See these values? Grapes have a lot of values. They're moral, man. These grapes are moral grapes.
They have a.
But see, I'm just dashing in some different colors. I'm not painting them in smooth. They're not smooth bits of anything, are they? Let's get a little more of the zinc and come around this guy out up here a titch.
Karen would like you to let me. Karen would like me to let you know that she thinks you are the best teacher she's ever had by far, and thank you so much for everything you do.
That means a lot.
So.
That means a lot.
Thank you, Karen.
A lot. A lot.
Cinnamon doesn't get to read the comments, so I sometimes.
No, I love when you comment after. If you've been on the channel for a while, you know I read my comments. And I try to get to everything. Sometimes you guys comment at 3 a.m, and then I miss it. But I'm never tuning anybody out. That's something to think about. I'm never tuning anybody out. You just may be at a crazy time zone for me. But I do try to get through and read everything. Oh, I'm liking how these are coming together. This happy. Look at this. They're just so painterly, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get into this one. This one I'm excited about. I think I made him bigger than he needed to be, but I just like him, so it's happening.
Okay.
And he's super blue. So I'm going to take a little of my ultramarine and my phthalo and a little of my purple and come talk to my much bluer grape a bit. Because he's going to need some conversational something, right? So I'm just working this deep value in here of these more intense colors. And then I'm going to come into my zinc. If I need to gray it for any reason, what do I get? I grab my very favorite burnt sienna. You can also grab your burnt umber. Let's gray this bad boy. We're going to come, I'm just dusting over the top. See, I'm dusting over it. I'm just going to listen to the light, or I guess see the light. I don't know. I listen to it. It's crazy. I'm on the tip of my brush, and I'm just keeping this super irregular, right? What am I shading? Are you noticing that the highlights are more here?
Yeah.
So I'm just paying attention to the light sources. One of the things about making a still life that's a delight is that when you do a still life, you can totally be in charge of the lighting. So you can control as an artist how much nonsense you've got to deal with. And how many things in life can you control the nonsense?
Yeah.
So just continuing to shade this up.
Now, what brush are you using right there?
This is my number 4 cat's
You're
tongue.
still on the same one. Okay.
Yeah.
We just saw the edge of it, so I wasn't sure if it was a round brush.
No, this is 5 brushes in one, so. I was so excited when Silver agreed to do one of these for acrylic. I was like, wait, really? Serious? For real? You're not messing with me? I'm taking a little of my Diox here and a little of my Alizarine. I need a dark color to come in and, see, just break up my little grape here. You need some dark colors in there to make the other. It's like the darkness lets the light in. So I'm getting my ultramarine blue. I haven't rinsed my brush, and a little of my zinc, because I'm going to create a small highlight back here, and I don't wipe off here. I don't want it to be too bright or it will take over. That implies that there's another little grape. See how I've implied that little grape? Just get a little more zinc. Just implied. He's very far back. He's hidden. His friends are more about being in the limelight.
He's the deep purple lurker.
He's the deep purple lurker. Purple nurple. You just want to make sure that you're...
I guess it's better than being a flying purple people eater.
So much better. But listen, guys, there's no brush that makes a painting. There are fun tools that make painting fun, but there's no brush that makes a painting. So I'm going to come add a little more highlight here. Get back into my blue. Maybe add a little of my burnt to it. Blue, 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 blue.
So if you don't have a cat's tongue...
Huh?
If you don't have a cat's tongue, a round or a filbert would be an okay section.
Round, a filbert, whatever brush that you can just work with without having to change out a lot.
Okay.
Right? Look, John and I just did a thing where we talked to creators for YouTube, where they had us as a feature creator, and we talked to new creators. And John said my favorite thing, because they were like, what editing software is the best software? And John's like, the one you use.
Yeah.
The one you use is the best one. And I really, really, I love my brushes, but I know for a fact that the brush you use, the one you grab out of your bucket every time, that's your best brush. The one that helps you feel confident that you can get this done, that's your bad boy right there. Now I'm going to get a little phthalo, because and I'm mixing it into my pre-mixtures over here, and I'm going to just, look at that. Look at how that pops then. I don't know if you can see it. It's just, wow, it's so powerful. Wow, these grapes rock.
Oh, super zoom on that. So you can super zoom.
See, it's just super poppy.
It's super grapey.
I'm poppy.
It's not poppy.
Aren't they starting to come out?
These are, they're not poppies, they're Alamorithian crotona something.
That was yesterday. I knew how to say that yesterday. I don't know how to say it today.
It's gone.
Alstroemeria.
No, there it is. You said it.
I didn't say it.
Alstroemeria.
Did I say it a little bit?
Astrolameria. I think you said it right the first time. Astroemeria.
Right. Let's get this little grape kind of thawed out and considered, right? Because we've considered. Let's just come up here and
just put some more consideration.
I'm going to pull out some alizarin.
These grapes are for your consideration.
This is the. So I'm kind of darkening the alizarin with the ultramarine. And I'm going to get a little of my zinc so I can definitely see it. Picking up a little of that blue there. And I'm going to come here and start having a conversation about this fabulous grape. If I need to improve my flow with glaze, I will. And I'm going to just say, hey, grapey grape, grape ape. You are a focal grape. So focal grapes I have to consider. And I want to paint as their own subject matter in the same way I would paint a flower or anything else. And then less focal grapes I don't have to worry about as much.
No, focal grapes have got a message, and they want to know if you've heard it.
That's right. So I'm just adding zinc, and I know that I'm trying to pay attention to my light source and make sure that I leave the deep shadows, because that's still going to make what's going to make my grape feel amazing and be amazing is if I keep those values going. Those good old-fashioned grape values. Keep your good old-fashioned grape values going. So that was just the ultramarine on my brush. I haven't rinsed it out, and I'm just trying to make sure that look at how I'm just irregularly painting this. Right? Super fun stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just irregularly painting it. I'm going to do something crazy here. I'm going to get a little of my naphthol on there and a little of my zinc. I'm going to come in and add some weird spots of warm with this brighter color. Look at that.
Yeah. There was someone who's asking about if you would teach how to do that velvetyness on there. And I guess you're going right in there and just...
Yeah, so these are distant velvets. This is not a good example. When I do the next still life, I'll make sure I include some folded fabric in one of the selections.
Oh.
So you guys can be like, yeah, I'd like to spend some time doing folds.
Mm.
And then I'll be like, okay, well, you asked for it, so you get it. I'm taking a little of my ultramarine blue and my phthalo blue, and I'm coming into my zinc. Right? I'm going to add a smidge of my purple to this. I'm going to come over here. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
What am I doing here? Yes, I am. Yes. It's fun for me. Is it fun for you? It's super fun for me. And this one right here, man, let's think about you a bit. Let's just take this color right over to you. You're here. You're grapey. We see you. Let's grab some of the alizarin that we had mixed out earlier. Come to your base and build that back up into you. Let's build you back up. I'm just working these out. Work it out, man. I'm going to get a little of, again, my zinc on there. And let's put a little highlight down into the depth, right? So one of the things is if we highlight things that are in the depth and pull highlights out of the depth, it lets our grapes come forward or pull back. See that?
Mm-hmm.
So I can sit there and say, this grape is deep in. Deep grape. My name is Deep Grape. That's just wrong. Whoo, grapes. Grape day. Now you're starting to go, this is why people in art school are like, not grapes.
Guard dog. I'm not sure what
she's having a whole moment, isn't she?
She is. You know, she's only brave from behind the door.
This is so true. That is the extent of her braveness.
She's like, no, everything's bigger than me, and I know it.
All right, so I've taken a little of my phthalo blue and a little of my ultramarine blue, and I've added some of my burnt. I might add a little of both of my burnt umber and my burnt sienna just to grade out. I'm going to get a little of my zinc. Let's come and talk to some other grapes. Some other grapes need to have a conversation. We need to have another conversation. So here we go. I know I've got, let's back and forth creating that unexpected patterning on our grape, right? Because our grapes have irregular patterns. I might come and get some of my deep color. I can even add my green into my purple, creating this deep color. Look at this here. Add some spots into your grape where the shininess is knocked back. I'm going to rinse out. Get some of my ultramarine over into some zinc. Let's come back and highlight this a bit. See? Highlighting it a bit.
Yeah.
What do we think?
I like it.
More realistic grapes. They just take a minute.
Just a couple more layers.
It's just a little more layers. It's not that I have a technique here. I'm on this one here, just kind of thinking about it. Kind of highlighting the forward-facing bit of it. What it is that, like, I mean, we could do almost hyperrealism together. We would just be at it for a while. We could crinkle up some aluminum foil and paint it together. We'd just meet up every day for an hour and paint a little crinkle, and then meet up the next day and paint a little crinkle. And by the end of it, you'd be like, I never want to see another crinkle.
That's like patience and layers.
This is the hyperrealist, patience and layers. And then on top of that, they're spectacular artists because they do composition and all kinds of other interesting. Look at these grapes.
They are good grapes. Look at the grapes. They look good up in there. Look at those.
Look little Renaissance-y grapes.
With the purple flowers, the Astromarillith.
Astromeria.
Yeah, Astromeria. There you go.
Probably
I'll say
it wrong.
I'm going to say it. It's like when I couldn't say quinacridone.
So here's one of the things I'm going to tell you as you're going forward and you're painting these, and we're close to being done. We have about 20% more to do. And you guys can remember after this, go home and continue to work on it and continue to work on it. But you're going to know you're nailing these pieces when you have company over, you frame this, and I would definitely recommend framing this. Cool thing about a 16 by 20 is you can often find really high-end frames on resale at resale shops. You just pop them in. But anyways, so you've got this framed on your wall, right? When somebody sees it and they don't understand how you made it, and you see them get in on it because they're trying to fathom how it happened. There's nothing until you walk into your living room and see some person you know just like on your painting, like touching it. Like, what happened?
How did you do that?
It's both invasive and a compliment. It's kind of an interesting experience. And another reason why I varnish. Okay.
So we still more painting?
Yo, yeah. You see all these grapes?
I do see. You were just like, you're getting me concerned. I'm like,
this is why we don't do these all real time live. This is why you don't see a lot of this. Let's paint this nice dark buddy down here. Let's get a little of our green and our purple and some of our blue, right? And let's come down here and make sure this little guy has a nice little shadow a foot.
Okay.
Like
so the grape has a shadow and a foot.
Sure.
Is it a member of a secret underground fighting organization?
I'm sort of glazing him back, but I'm going to do this cool thing. Get your zincs. Get your zincs. Come here. Very lightly. Lightly. Pull this back up out of the shadow with your zinc. See how are we doing? You can add another little shadow grape here. Shadow grape. I feel that's so funny. Shadow grape. Who are you on the shadow grape? He has a little ring. He passes it to his friends so he can have a favor. He's really mad at how Alec Baldwin destroyed the comic. Okay. Some more shadow grape.
So Karen's
having a little meltdown here somewhere in the
You're telling the stories of the grapes. The grapes start. What grapes? What are you doing with your grape stories? You'd be like, yes, this is cinnamon all the time. It's just over there. The grapes have little experience. Like grapes are going on a picnic together. They're singing to one another in unison. You're hearing the backstory of one grape. Yeah, this is normal. This
is totally normal. So see how they're starting to pop?
Yes. Next
this little group of grapes still needs attention. A little of my phthalo blue and ultramarine blue. Let's add a smidge of purple into it and a smidge of my burnt umber back into this color. And you'll see this kind of come forward. And we're going to find a grape and we're going to paint that grape. Let's paint this grape.
I gotta go back over. You're jumping around. Okay.
I know. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to go.
Okay.
Let's paint this grape. Let's think about this grape a little bit.
So Karen would like me to say
hi, Karen.
Thank you, and that she loves, all in caps, that every once in a while you're doing more complicated paintings over several episodes. Please do this again.
I will do this again. I won't stop doing super simple lessons. So if you're like here and you're like, I'm one hoot, don't take away the one hoots. One hoots will continue. I just grabbed Dog's Purple and Alizarine Crimson.
This is deceptive, though. It's not actually. This is like a 2 hoot. Like this is a level.
This really is a 2 hoot. It's just time intensive.
So it's only like a level 2 out of 3. So it's like right there in the middle of
your
beginner
I think the
journey.
hardest perspective here is the knife. Just that, and the twist is much easier than you think.
So the real challenge here is the commitment to do this larger piece.
That is the challenge. I was challenged by the commitment to do this larger piece.
And one of the things, man, I would say to all of you guys out there, please, complete it. Just finish it. And because the act of completing them and bringing them to that final completion, even though you may not feel good about one part or another part or something, it's just like, I promise you, when it's all done and complete, it's so much better.
It's almost as if you were with some artist during their I can't complete anything phase.
Yeah.
It's almost as if you've been tangentially through that experience. When I couldn't finish a single piece. Oh my gosh.
So you're sort
I'm
of
adding some zinc to this. So This is the highlight. This is where I'm looking for the shadows. And this is how I'm creating these.
Now, you've departed
pops.
from the actual number of grapes that were in the original painting?
Probably.
Okay.
Chances are I have gone grape maverick.
That's okay. Well, some of the folks in the community were like, okay, so if they're just concerned because sometimes they like to follow along closely, and when they see you deviating, they want to make sure that they're not misseeing what's going on.
No, I probably am.
Okay, so that's okay. It's okay that you're total, but they're just wanting to make sure that they're seeing that too.
You're seeing it. It's happening.
Okay, yeah, because as long as we we're just making sure that we understand what's happening.
I'm just looking for deep values here, guys, and making sure my grapes have their.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm looking for.
They look so velvety.
Yeah, like grapes look velvety.
And it's so funny because up close, it's like they're this awesome painterly grape. They look really slick, and then when you back up, they look like little velvety, realistic grapes.
Little velvety, realistic grapes. They are. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm almost through.
I know. They just like when you from far away, these
ultramarine and phthalo blue and a little burnt.
Lurking grapes. They're in the shadows.
No one knows
lurking.
what's in the heart of a lurking grape.
Well, if you listen closely, you might be able to hear it. They sing.
I'm just pulling this up a little bit. I know a lot of lemon is going to be over this. I know it. No, I know it.
Oh, Mary's got a good question.
Hi, Mary.
When did you decide? When do you call yourself an artist? When is it okay for you to say, "Hey, I'm an artist"?
The first painting.
The first painting?
If you do a painting, okay, here's when you can call yourself an artist. If you do a painting and it speaks something deep inside of you where you just suddenly you hear yourself like it's a bell going off inside your heart, right then just go ahead and call yourself an artist. I see people torture themselves, right? And drag themselves kind of through this really challenging journey where they won't give themselves the moniker of artist because they set forth an arbitrary goal of when they internally decided that they perceive someone as an artist or an external source, right? Like a well-meaning friend or somebody who's in the artwork. Because our artists, like people, we have opinions. We're made up of opinions, right? And so all the time, we were just responding to something where someone's saying, well, she holds the brush too close to the ferrule. So, blah, 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 not an artist. And I just thought, dude, what about people who can't even hold the ferrule? I know a chick that can totally paint with her mouth.
Yeah.
Because arms weren't an option. What, I'm not going to call her an artist because how she holds the brush, how Chuck Close holds the brush. That's the silliest thing I ever heard. You're an artist where the act of creating speaks to you. And if you're a scrapbooker, you can be an artist. If you're a quilter, you can be an artist, right? The media, the length and grade of time isn't it, right? Now, you might be a professional artist. That could be a different journey. Or you could be a shown artist. That could be a different journey. But the minute, this is so my soapbox, sorry guys, I'm monologuing like a villain. The minute that art speaks to you, go ahead and say, ding, I'm an artist.
Yes.
And then just enjoy the rest of the journey. Because, once you've discovered that you are an artist, it's not like you're going to stop painting. And you're only going to get better at what you do.
Where's our little dinger?
I don't know where my dinger is.
One of our community members, Alan, sent us this wonderful dinger where we ding and go to stars. But I think it's been moved over here because it's very messy in here, actually.
Just very, very, very.
There's paint tubes everywhere.
Paint tubes
it's
everywhere.
It is. It's like just these fallen paint tubes that have just been discarded. And laying all over.
All right, I'm going to try to get this little guy right here.
Okay.
That one right there, you see it? I'm going to try to get it. So I've got my green and my purple. I'm going to have to put out some more purple. But, do know that as you're going through your art journey, you will have all kinds of opinionated blankety blanks who are going to tell you that you are or are not an artist based on some arbitrary feeling they have about some nonsense. I find it's best just to look at them blank-eyed and stare. Just nod and move away slowly so you don't disturb the crazy person. When they're like, real artist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, Ooh, you really, really need to get back in your studio and paint. I can tell you're stressed out. But don't even engage. Don't engage. So I'm going to add a little shadow there, and I'm going to try maybe a little of my alizarin down in here. Just try to just get this deep value happening. All right? That's what I want, is that deep value. I'm going to get a little of my ultramarine and my zinc. And let's start adding some grape to that. Just enjoying the lighting and the shapes and stuff. Maybe push a grape in the deep depth grape. Sometimes if you have a really intensely blank space, you may need to add a deep depth grape. A grape that has been overwhelmed by its siblings.
Deep in the vine.
In the dark grape. In the dark night. Yeah, we goof all the time.
There lives a grape in the shadow. Dun dun dun.
So you just painting. You know, I'm pulling this up because I know my lemon is like going in front of, look how much of that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you just don't need that much of that showing, and it's very dark where it is. So I'm even pushing that back some more. See how I'm pushing it back?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking it away, and I'll come back with a little bit of my powerhouse. You guys are going to be like, zinc white! Did you see what it does? And I'm going to be like, yeah. Also pretty cool at clouds and water effects and all kinds of other things. I'm just making sure that there's some of these weird little values that are happening here. So when our lemon peel happens, we don't lose our happy little lemon. Just pushing it back. And then pulling it forward with my zinc. No, that's a hair on my brush.
Rogue hair.
Rogue hair. I sometimes get excited and pick up too much paint. It's a thing I do.
Yes, you do.
I do. So
sometimes you put out too much paint, too.
I put out, well, that I do because what I find is that if I put out an economical amount of paint, nobody really has any idea what I put out. Because you can't really easily see how I'm blending this grape into the shadow. It's a shadow grape.
Velma says she thought you became an artist when or that artist was achieved when your house was overrun with art supplies.
Oh no. No, I'm telling you. That's just when everyone else found out.
That's just when everybody else knows it and you might not.
That's when the people in your life start to suspect that you may be different than them.
Open drawers and it's just tubes of paint.
There's nothing as special as like coming to your family and saying, I think I'm an artist.
Oh.
Just watch the panic on their faces. Yeah. I was very lucky I had a good family for it. I'm just adding some of this blue here and there and deepening up some of these grapes. It's just fabulous.
It's like, yeah.
In that moment, you're going to realize everybody has a lot of opinions about art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. It's like
based on no experience.
Like it's like I can only imagine trying to go, Mom, Dad, I want to go to art school. It's like,
well, I think you went through it when you had to tell your family you were dating an artist.
Oh yeah,
and it was serious.
And then I started switching from high energy physics classes to art history classes.
They were freaking out. They did not like me.
Well, I think they liked you. It was just very concerning about what the artist influence was having on me.
Oh yeah.
And then I went on. Well, see, then I went on after college. I went on to do more art school though.
Yeah, you did.
So I like art school.
The first art classes were just because I was in those art classes.
There was a pretty girl in class with us.
And yeah, Tally completely called you on that too. He totally knew why you were in class. He was like, "Well, if you're gonna be here, you're gonna learn something."
He did too. He's like, "All right, you're here. Let's go."
So I'm just looking for the colors that I'm seeing in my grapes. If I'm seeing like a red reflection in the grape, I'm just trying to come back in and add that in. See? See? But like Bugsy over here. See what I'm doing? See? And it's just about really just continually looking for those colors and those reflections of each grape reflecting on the one in front of it. Trying to understand what is this grape trying to achieve? What is its greater goal, John?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know what its goal is. You have to listen closely.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that my grapes have some thought and consideration. Now I'm going to go through. Now that I have my grapes basically in, I'm going to take in and I'm going to evaluate that. And do I feel like they're grapey?
Grapey.
Do I feel like they have that texture and element of grape? And now I'm going to dramatize their lighting, which means I'm going to pull out a little more of my zinc.
You're going to dramatize them.
I'm going to dramatize. Drama.
But not trauma. Drama.
No trauma. Don't traumatize your painting. Oh, I like that. Don't traumatize your painting. Dramatize your painting.
There you go.
Okay, that's a quote.
That's a Sherpa-ism if I ever heard one.
That's a Sherpa-ism. That's going in the book, right? Don't dramatize. Traumatize. All right, so I'm going to just take some pure zinc, and I'm going to make sure that the lighting that I'm seeing is sort of reflected, right? Mm-hmm. So first I'm going to do this with my zinc, and I'm going to just look for these highlights. And the thing about the zinc is because it's transparent, it's going to really allow me to do this and not erase the color that I've got going underneath. Can you see that happening?
Mm-hmm.
I love my zinc. I don't know if it's good for the environment or what's happening with, but I love my zinc.
Well, I think as long as you're...
I actually think this one is okay.
Yeah, well, I think that as long as... we use very safe handling practices, so it's not like we're not going to do anything that's going to harm the environment with our paint, so...
I don't know. If they gave me lead paint, I might be terrible and use it.
Well, as long as you have proper...
I just wouldn't eat it.
And
I keep paint out of my mouth.
And don't pour it down the drain.
I probably would not pour that paint down the drain.
You just have to be safe environmentally. You can use any kind of paint as long as you follow the safety instructions. It's on the tube.
Can you tell this is a conversation we've had in our family?
It's like they provide all of it right there on the side of the tube. Just follow it and just do it. It's very simple
to me.
It doesn't just
Can
not
you
even
guys
hard.
see the reflection starting to take place?
Mm-hmm.
How these grapes are starting to, let's look at them. Are they pop? Oh, look at them popping.
Oh yeah, they do.
They pop so much.
They look very spherical.
Yeah. It's amazing how you can make something look super spherical.
Can you talk about your brush strokes? Because I know that from past paintings, that's something that really helps that.
So what I try to do, like here, I'm like trying to make sure that I'm not making any obvious shapes or hard edges. Mm-hmm. Nothing to catch the eye. And I'm being light and kind of irregular, if that makes sense. Right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
This one actually has two. Just trying to knock that back. But I'm just glazing right over. This is like a glaze. You can see me go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And I'm sort of dashing around.
Uh-huh.
I often turn my brush. I'm just making sure that the velvety, creamy nature of my grapes is present. Now I'm going to do something radical.
What you going to do?
Could be too much, but I'm going to go for it.
Free radical grapes?
Well, because I'm I don't know. They're awfully perfect.
They're very nice.
I'm not messing with them.
They're very nice grapes.
They're really perfect. That's exactly where I wanted to take them.
I'm going to look at those and just, look at those grapes.
Oh, look at those grapes.
Right here, I'm going to zoom in on them. I'm going to zoom in super close because you can see the painterly nature of them when you get up on close of them.
Yeah.
They just look like these really neat spheres. And as you zoom out on them, I mean, they like just magically transform into these little velvety balls.
Are you kind of freaked out and happy, guys?
I just think that's so cool.
Do you feel that warm? Oh my gosh.
I like it. I think it's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Cinnamon. Thank you.
Is that fun?
Yeah, everybody else in here is the same way with me. They're like, man, this is great. I think this is cool. And so I'm kind of tripping on
This
it
is what
myself.
I loved about going to like an artist retreat, because the other artists looking at you like, you got hot mess, and then all of a sudden they come over and they're like, what happened?
It's like it went from, oh, man, are you sure that you really think that this painting thing is something that you should be doing and calling yourself, to, oh, no, you're awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a really fun thing, because I'll be like super loose. I'm like, and then like, you know me, last 20% of the painting, boom, 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 painting done. Drop the brush. Yeah. Except not, because it's somebody else's floor, and that would be totally rude.
And you can't drop those brushes anymore because they're.
No, I have really good brushes. I'm really happy with that.
Man, we got a huge group of people out here hanging out and painting with us. Lots of new little brushes. Lots of people. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I am so glad you guys are gonna just. I think I would love to, one, see your paintings in their stages in the Facebook group and of course on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I would love to hear. What was your favorite? Was it the wine glass? Was it the Alstroemeria? Was it the grapes? Is it the lemon? Is it the painting metal? What about this painting ended up being your very fave?
Mm-hmm.
Would be something I would like. And remember, immediately after we're done with this, it's Southwest Week, which is going to be after this very chill. You're going to be like, oh, I'm very chill in my Southwest world. Okay, so I hope you guys are great. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Stay safe in all these crazy weather things and forest fires and all of that. And I want to see you at the Easel tomorrow for Daenerys Targaryen, and then again Friday for this lemon, for the lemon. Ba 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 ba.